Amanda, I want to play a game.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. As you can see from the title, today's video is my full review with spoilers of Final Destination Bloodlines that is currently available in theaters. As always, all my reviews are with spoilers, but if you don't want them just to see if this was worth it or not, on the description box down below, there you're going to find my spoiler-free review because I like to give you guys the two options. Given that quick disclaimer, let's get into the video. Now, Final Destination Bloodlines follows, plagued by a recurring violent nightmare. A college student returns home to find the one person who can break the cycle and save her family from the horrific fate that inevitably awaits them. And to quickly summarize it, the film opens in 1968 with a couple, Iris and her fiancé Paul. They're going to this open ceremony of this new restaurant, a Sky High View, a building that is kind of similar to the Space Needle in terms of the structure. They're having a good time. Paul even proposes to Iris and she tells him that she is pregnant. They're just celebrating, having a good time. Suddenly, a crystal falls into the dance floor, and because it's made of glass and there's nothing underneath, it breaks. It starts a chain of events that ends with the whole building collapsing and Iris and a little boy that is with her dying last. But here, instead of returning to the moment where the premonition began, they're actually brought 56 years later to a college student called Stephanie that she is having this as a nightmare. She has been having this nightmare for the past 2 months non-stop because the woman in her nightmare, Iris, is her grandmother. She decides to return home and find some answers. After her questioning her family about it, she's able to retrieve the address of the grandmother because she has been living in a cabin in the woods alone for the past years. She is afraid of death. She has become obsessed to the point that her children have to be taken away, and Stephanie's mother even left her when she was 10 because she couldn't deal with the fact that she could see death everywhere she went. So as Stephanie goes to visit Iris, she explains to her that what she is seeing, it was her premonition, but here, instead of the premonition becoming true, she was able to prevent it from happening, meaning that every single person that was here that was supposed to die was able to survive. And because that wasn't Death's plan, Death had been coming for these people ever since. But because it was so long ago, the survivors were able to have children and grandchildren. So now you have 3 generations of people that weren't supposed to be alive. So Death is coming for them, and now is the time for Stephanie and her family. But in order for this to finally start, the grandma has to die first. And Stephanie doesn't really believe her grandmother until she steps out of the cabin and it proves to her granddaughter, sacrificing her life, that Death was actually coming for her and has been waiting all along. So Iris dies, but gives to Stephanie before dying a book that has all her knowledge, every single report about all the people that have been dying. We even seen some things about the flight 180. We see things about a truck. You know what truck I'm talking about. So she returns home and she explains to her family all of this, but they do not believe her. They believe that she's just as crazy as the grandmother. But it's not until 3 people have died already in the family that they start to listen. A detail that they find in the book is that says that someone called JB was able to find someone that cheated Death. They decided to do some research and they found out that this JB actually works in a hospital. They arrive to the hospital, and this is when we learn that JB is no other than William Bloodworth, that is actually the little boy that is at the beginning with Iris, and he was able to survive the accident thanks to her. He briefly explains to the group about Kimberly, that is so far the only survivor of the Final Destination franchise, and how she, by dying and then being brought back, she was able to cut the pattern and was able to cheat Death. And explains that in order for this group to survive, they have to either kill someone or they have to die. They try to die and being brought back, but they are unsuccessful. So at last we have the 3 remaining members of this family. They decide to go to the cabin of Iris to try and see if by staying there they can survive. But this doesn't work. And we end with Stephanie and her brother as the last survivors. She ends underwater, similar to Kimberly. She goes unconscious and her brother brings her back. So they believe that she died, and because she was brought back, they have cheated Death. And a week later, on the prom of Stephanie's brother, that is Charlie, they are speaking with some neighbors, and this is when they realize that Stephanie didn't actually die because she was just unconscious. By definition, her heart didn't stop, so she didn't die, meaning that the plan didn't work. And at that moment, a train derails, and some blocks that were on the top of it, they fall into Stephanie and her brother, and both of them die. And that is how the film concludes. Now getting into the review. This film has some early screeners from the past weeks, and I have been seeing people's opinion about it spoiler free, but they were all mixed. Some people were loving this film, some people were hating it. So I didn't know what to expect, but I decided to go as open-minded as possible. And I have to say that I actually had a good time. The film is not perfect, but I don't believe that it is that bad either. The majority of the comments that I have seen around this film is about the CGI. The thing is that the CGI looks hella obvious. But to be fair, without the CGI, you cannot do the deaths as creative and as ridiculous as they are. So on that side, I understand that they have to use CGI. But I'm gonna have to agree a little bit with the fact that unfortunately, it makes everything look really fake. Again, I can understand when you have to absolutely use CGI. But there are moments where they don't really need it and they could have used more practical effects or real sets and more makeup. But on the bright side, at least it's not as bad as Final Destination 4 CGI that we can all agree that CGI is awful. I appreciate the fact that the film is able to be a standalone, but also it's part of the franchise. It doesn't drag everything about the previous movies. Yes, we do have some reference. There are things that connect the films with others. But at the same time, if you have never watched any of the previous Final Destination films, you're going to be fine with this. You can watch it and you're going to understand what you need. The film is going to give you the context. That might not be seen as a big deal for the people who have never watched a Final Destination film is the return of Tony Todd. His appearance is briefly, but is bittersweet. In case you don't know, unfortunately Tony Todd passed away back in November. He was able to do his part here, but it's a bittersweet moment because in a way it feels that his character is saying goodbye to us. I was even able to write what he said before leaving the scene and not appearing again, and what he says to the group that is looking for answers to him. He says, "Life is precious, enjoy every single second. You never know when. Good luck." But the way that he is saying it, it was sad because you know that unfortunately that is indeed his goodbye. And it's sad, but it's also a beautiful moment that we have of not only an amazing actor, but a crucial part of the franchise. So I think that we are lucky that we have him one last time, and that those were the final words that he said to us. I like it that the film doesn't hesitate to take risks when it comes to the deaths. They are creative. When you think that they cannot do another over-the-top death, you are proven wrong. They are ridiculous, funny, over-the-top, impressive, you name it. So I really appreciate the fact that they have no limits with this and they do as much as they can. So I was really happy to see it. I have seen some people talking about the soundtrack. The soundtrack is also a big part in this franchise. I like it, the songs. There's a moment when we have Stronger by Kelly Clarkson. And for me it was funny, but I have seen some people saying that they didn't like the song or the soundtrack in general, but I didn't dislike it. When it comes to the general plot and how the film goes, I felt that it went fast. It's 1 hour and 15 minutes. They went like this. I felt engaged and interested with the story, so I don't feel that it's boring, and I feel that it's a fun watch. And something that I did like it is that this film, although it follows the same pattern and the same structures as the previous films, reinvents a little bit the whole concept of the premonition. Because here, instead of having the premonition and then actually coming through and having just a few survivors having to fight death, here we have a whole group of people that did survive when they weren't supposed to, and the premonition never comes true. But I do feel that they make themselves some harm with the trailer and the first synopsis that they gave. Because if you read the previous synopsis and you watch the trailer and the teaser, you're going to know right away how this premonition is going to play and how the movie goes. And I feel that the film could have benefit of not giving those details to the public until they went to watch it. And what I mean by that is that I would have preferred for them to not reveal those details about the story, because they could have been a great plot twist. When it comes to the acting and the cast, I really like it, the characters, although you cannot get too attached to the characters on Final Destinations. At the end of the day, we know that they're not going to survive. I like it, the family dynamic, I like it, the character. I like it that we have some humor, and it felt that they had a realistic dynamic between them. There are some characters in the franchise that I have found extremely annoying. Majority of them are on Final Destination 4. Again, I don't like that movie at all. So I was pleased to see that the characters here, they were likable enough. The cast they did, a good job, nothing outstanding to be honest, but they weren't that bad either. On a general aspect, I enjoyed this film. I had a good time. Do I feel that is the best one of the franchise? No. Do I feel that is the worst one? No. For me, the worst one is always going to be Final Destination 4. Nobody can top that and nobody can change my mind, but I do feel that that is the general opinion and I am happy with that. When this film was first announced, I wasn't happy, I'm not gonna lie, because for me, Final Destination 5 was the greatest way to close this franchise. For me, this wasn't necessary, but after watching it, I am not mad that they made it. I feel that compared to other modern sequels, this is one of the best ones. So for me, this film will be a 3.5 out of 5 and a 7 out of 10. I feel that this is going to be a 50-50 situation. There's people that are going to love this, there's people that are going to hate it, and maybe just a few people right in the middle. But with this, I end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below your thoughts if you have watched it, and also let me know which one is your favorite of the franchise. For me, it's Final Destination 3. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Game over.